Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. Jamie Wheeless joining us here, the owner and bookkeeper at AAA Bookkeeping LLC. That's AAA Bookkeeping LLC. She's hails out of Austin, Texas, and we're talking today about her mission to empower businesses to provide expert bookkeeping services, really to ensure financial accuracy, compliance, and peace of mind, of course, exists. So we're excited to have you here. And I know you're excited to get more trusted partners out there to work with you. How are you?
I'm unbelievable. Thank you for asking, and
How,
I hope you're doing great.
I am. How's that weather in Austin, Texas? Beautiful
It
place
is
you live in.
better.
Oh, good.
We're not dying of heat anymore. It was like 70
Oh, my
earlier
goodness.
today, which is not 90 or 100. So we're happy.
Well, thank you for
But
being
we're
here.
inside working anyway, so it doesn't matter
Oh,
much.
good. Well, we're going to tell everyone how we can contact you. It's AAA bookkeeping.llc. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. And do you want to share a phone number, email address, social media page as well?
Yeah. Yes. I've typed in an email address, AAA period, the word books, like bookkeeping, period, and then the word plus, like we do more, plus sign, at gmail.com.
Perfect. And before we get started, I want to talk obviously more about all the services you provide. I think it's important that we get to know you. Tell us about yourself and how you developed AAA bookkeeping. I would love to hear about your background, your education, and how did you get into all of this?
Well, education is more like the Louis L'Amour variety. So I've been self-taught and taught by mentors. And I've been at this for quite a while. I think the first time I did bookkeeping was for my family's blueprinting business that I was also owner of. And I was doing some of the bookkeeping for that and writing payroll checks and getting things ready to go to the CPA. So from there on, it's kind of morphed into working, for a highway contractor and for a commercial supplier as a commercial assistant manager, and worked for a convenience store chain as the assistant personnel manager. And so
Wow.
I've had different types of experiences from, filing workers' comp claims and arguing those and hiring and firing people and, keeping track of all those kind of records and even checking criminal records before they had a service that did that. And now doing the bookkeeping along with that, just being a very detail oriented kind of person. It just kind of makes sense.
Wow. And now, how many years have you been doing this for?
On QuickBooks itself, I've been on that since like 2000, 2001. Yeah, it was 2000 when I started QuickBooks the first time and used it for our company. We were like serial entrepreneurs. We had a commercial uh, construction business that my husband owned. He had a couple of them, and I did the QuickBooks for that to turn over to the CPA or the enrolled agent that we had working with us. And so
Amazing.
then I kind of got hired while I was still working for another company. I needed more money. My husband had become disabled. And so I needed more money, and someone referred me to someone else to do their QuickBooks for their trucking company. And I've been doing that for them since 2016
Wow.
and just love taking care of people. And it's
Oh,
after the fact bookkeeping, not where I'm doing, payrolls or anything. I'll do the sales tax for
yeah.
people, do the payroll reporting, but I'm not writing the checks. It's after the fact.
Beautiful. Well, let's get started and break it down. Some of the services you provide. Now, is it strictly to those in Texas or do you work all over the US?
No, no, I work all over the US. Just as long as
Perfect.
you don't want me to visit you. It's got to be remote.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And now everything from bookkeeping, you mentioned QuickBooks, financial reporting, there's tax prep, payroll processing. Let's go over some of these specific services that you do provide.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it there. I've even helped people get their minority business or disadvantaged business or hub certifications, kind of led them through that. So I'm familiar and have experience with doing that type work too. I know how to, I don't have to right now, but I know how to file OSHA forms. I've done that for businesses as well with the the quarterly or yearly OSHA 300 and just different things. But mostly it's the after the fact bookkeeping, being sure that we get all your figures in accurately. So when you have to do your taxes or when you need a P&L, profit and loss, or balance sheet for your lender, you have that all in there so they don't have too many questions for you. And, it's all accurate so you can get, your loan that you need or, whatever. If you want to sell your business, it's all in there, or you just want to know where you stand.
Interesting. And what would you say sets you apart from other listeners? I'm
Well,
sorry, I'm talking for our listeners.
yeah.
What sets you apart? Yeah, as far as, your services.
Well, I'm not overseas. You can reach me. I return calls pretty
Mm-hmm.
quickly or emails fairly quickly. So I have a lot of experience and am able to kind of figure things out. And if I can't figure it out, I'm not afraid to reach out to a mentor. I've got some to help me because I have experience in things they may not, so that we're always kind of helping each other. So I have a little group of people that help me with things. I don't give them the names of people, but they just kind of keep me on the straight and narrow. And I'm not the most expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worth the money that you pay for. So there is that too, because that is kind of a consideration, especially with these small businesses. They want someone that cares and that's not gonna, charge them an arm and a leg just for talking to them
Mm-hmm.
on the phone for a few minutes.
Yep, absolutely. And you're working with now what size businesses? Is it all small, large business, anything, could you share some examples of some of the types of businesses you're working with?
Yeah, small business, if I'm not mistaken, is usually considered to be like under several millions. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, one of the construction companies I worked for was 25 million a year, and that's called a small business. So the ones that I'm with are all small businesses. They can range from, 100,000 on up to, several million. And some of them are a few million, maybe 5 million or so, that size. And restaurants, trucking companies, remodelers. I love doctors, taking care of them too. Insurance agents, I've done books for them. Just a variety of people. I've got a boutique that I do the books for.
Oh,
So just quite a few different things.
wow. Well, for today, I know it's your first show with us, and we are getting to know you. Jamie Willis live here on the line. Just to point out, if you are tuning in, go to AAA, that's AAA Bookkeeping.LLC, and get started working with her. Reach out for that first initial call. What else about AAA Bookkeeping would you like our listeners to know?
I understand what it's like to be a small business owner and the
Ah,
struggle and having to just make sure that you get all your I's dotted and your T's crossed and, having to juggle, being able to pay those bills and things. And I try to work with you so we can make it as, financially feasibly possible for you to have a good set of books.
mm-hmm. And what are some of the common problems you see with that? I'm sure you've taken over a lot of companies, right? Who wasn't
Yeah,
weren't getting done what they needed to the right way. Let's just say it that way.
that we mean well, and people are trying to get everything done, but they don't really know how to code things properly is part of what I'll see. Maybe they don't realize something is a liability, that it needs to be entered that way. They don't know how to enter assets. Maybe they'll just call them expenses, so they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot that way, or they're going to get in trouble. There's payroll items that, have to be entered a certain way. And I've done 1099s for years, not just for my company, but companies prior to that. And there's some legalities to that I know very specifically. I've had companies that I've done like over 280 1099s for just one company. So there's a lot of different ins and outs with that kind of thing. And with sales tax, I'm very familiar with some of the laws on that have had to become. And I'm willing to research and figure out what your industry requires too, because it's
Hmm.
not real simple. It takes a while to look through it or to call and have to research all that stuff.
Got it.
You might as
And
well pay me less money than having to, pay a CPA or someone else to tell you.
yeah, and saves time, right? You say you save the
Mhm.
time. You're a trusted company and fair pricing as well. And do you offer an initial free consultation for someone who calling, or
Yes,
how does that part work?
I do. I do. I'll usually
Okay.
talk to them first, and then we'll kind of figure out, how many hours it's going to take, and then I like to get on a kind of more of a fee basis, just after we see kind of how it's averaging out.
Perfect. And I also was perusing around and just curious. I'm sure, maybe people and business owners are well informed. I'm just a little confused. What is the bank reconciliation? What type of service is that?
That's where it gets kind of crazy. Sometimes some bank accounts, you'll have like all these things coming in from all your debit card and
Uh-huh.
everything. And someone has to go in there and decide how to account for those. And that's me. And then, after you get all that entered in, then you've got to make sure it really matches what the bank register says. And if you're hand entering, which some I do, then being off 2 cents throws the whole thing. You got to find out where you're off, and I'd rather see you doing, a company doing the business they're good at, and having more time to do what they do that makes them money, than having to spend time searching for, a digit that's off, or, two or three entries that are off. And even when the bank downloads what are called feeds, sometimes those feeds, I see it quite frequently, they don't have everything that you've done included. They'll skip entries. So you have to go through the statement and figure out what entries are missing. And then, there's an ending balance and a beginning balance, and you have to make it all reconcile out and match.
Wow.
I hope that
And
answered it.
no, that's great. Could you mind sharing a little bit of your, personal life as far as, do you have a team of people that are working with you here as well? Is it just you? Is there who's on staff with you? Are you the woman that does it all?
I've got a couple of yeah, I've got a couple of trusted people that are working with me. And you said personal, you want personal or you just want business?
Whatever you want to talk about, it's up to you. You want to bring that
My
in.
my husband and I, we have grown children, so there's no kids
Oh,
at home, but we have six altogether.
oh my
So,
goodness.
this has got to be something that works around everything, and bookkeeping's perfect. I may be up till 1 in the morning doing it, I'm in my pajamas in the morning doing it. I'm dressed up today, but it works all around my life. And we have, a lot of grandkids and stuff too. So we can travel, and I can take my computer with my VPN on it so it's safe, and I can work while I'm traveling too.
Wow. So you are full service, clearly. Do you ever close?
Mhm.
Are you closed for holidays? Or are you working all the time?
No. I mean, I may say that online, but I'm really there. I mean, they can call me or email me and I'll answer. I think a doctor that I do books for, emailed me over the weekend, and I answered him. I didn't say, we're not in until Monday. I answered him back.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are some current projects you're working on? You just mentioned you're working it for a doctor's office. And what about investments? I saw that on your latest contribution section. I'm not sure if that's current.
It's offices. It's more than one office. But
Okay.
yes, yeah, investments. We have one of the clients invests in land. So, we're having to kind of track what he's doing with that, and enter and get all that in there for him. And they get really busy. So sometimes we have to kind of send what I call a friendly nag to remind you, I see this in the bank statement, but what is it? I don't know. What did you spend this 50 grand on? I'm thinking you didn't just take it out to go on a holiday, so there has to be some back and forth. But yeah, land investments. I've done the bookkeeping for a home builder too. And, I've also done it for, people who buy homes to rent and sell, especially to rent.
Yeah.
I've done them for them too.
Now, any tips you want to give out there to business owners, about how not to get audited? What are the common things they're doing wrong?
Try to find out, what the law is, and try to stick with it as best you can. I mean, there is gray areas, and you know you got to kind of watch for that too. I would do what my CPA told me to do for sure, or my enrolled agent, and do my best to stick with that, so that you don't get into any hot water.
Got it. Well, let's remind everyone all the ways we can reach out to you. Would you mind sharing again the phone number, website, email address, anything that's important to you?
Yeah, my email is AAA period books, and that's plural, period plus, and that's spelled out at gmail.com, AAA period BOOKS period PLUS at gmail.com. And the website is aaabookkeeping.llc. But you'll reach me fastest by email. And then, after we talk, then we can trade phone numbers and stuff. I don't want to put it out here, but I would love to hear from anybody that just would like just some help or a lot of help. I'm grateful for the business and I will treat you like you'd want to be treated, like
Yeah,
I'd want to be treated, with
perfect.
respect.
Oh my goodness. And when is your busy season usually? How does it work in your world? Is it always?
It's about to be now. Probably, we're going to be looking at, everybody needing 1099s by the end of January to be filed. So everything's got to be in, all the contractors have to be in by, the time frame for me to get all that done. So it's like now. And then people are wanting, hopefully to get their books finished by March so they can get them to their CPA in April or at least file an extension and have an idea for that. So it's like now. I wouldn't
Yeah.
wait.
Well, being that you're in this field and clearly you are passionate about what you do, what would you say to someone up and coming who wants to get involved in this, right? To go to school for this, and what type of qualifications do they need to get, and what has changed over the years?
I would say that you really need a very high attention to detail and you like to solve puzzles that way. And then you also have to really care for people. I don't think it works so good if you're just in it for the money and you don't care for the people and listen to them and try to help them. I think you really have to do that. There's
Hmm.
training that you can do.
Oh,
You don't have to. You can become, you can go on QuickBooks and you can get certified. I've been online certified before.
okay.
You can do that too. There's all kind of things along that line. And there's quick bookkeeping schools. I have not. I've come up through the School of Hard Knocks, is working and doing it. And I had a CPA tell me that my error rate at one point was like 1 in 300 entries. So, I'm real detail. So, you want to be real careful.
Yeah, for sure. My goodness, I could imagine the amount, and the liability that's on your hands, right? That, people are looking to you for to be trusted and to know what you're doing. And tell us a client story or two. Could you share someone who loves working with you all, who's been a client for years? Just, you don't have to use their names or a company name, but just give us an
Sure.
idea of what, the type of work you're doing for them and how grateful they are.
Sure. And I do want to speak to what you said too. We do have liability insurance. We're careful
Okay.
about that. We've never had anything happen with that, God willing. Yeah, I have a particular client and now I'm doing the books for two of their sons. Well, they've gone on, to do their own businesses, but I started with the mom and dad. I'm still doing the mom and dads, and it can be very intense and there's a lot to it. There could be hundreds of entries, a
Mm-hmm.
month with what they do and multiple credit cards, you know, but I do it, very carefully and, but quickly. And that way they can be assured, that they have a proper set of books that they're taking to their tax professional and, get along well with the tax professionals too. Um, I think we had one account for a good while that had rental houses, and he had like 10 or 15, and we were helping him keep track of all that too, and buying the things from Goodwill or wherever to get them furnished, and he'd come in with a bag of receipts, and we would take that bag of receipts and figure out where to enter them all in, what all different credit cards and accounts, and what house they went to, and he did his best to kind of write on them, but it was just, you just get a whole bunch of receipts that you got a big file cabinet to put them in, or you may wind up scanning them if they like that. But that's extra work too. It's easier just to have them put in a file cabinet in the right place that they belong in the proper file.
Wow. And over the years, everything's digital now, right? So
Yeah.
you were around doing this when everything was on pen and paper and had to be filed that way?
Yes. Yeah. And I forgot to mention too, I've done nonprofits as well.
Oh,
So yeah. Yeah. I've done bookkeeping for nonprofits and that too. So that's interesting as well. Every single thing has to have a receipt when you're in that kind of business. that kind of work. It's all got to be backed up because you're going to have, a 990 form and a audit. It's very intense.
See, you're teaching me. What else about the business? We have 5 minutes left, so I just want to know what else you want people to know about you and the company and, to work with you, why they should.
Well, I'm not a woman of a lot of words. I'm more a woman who does numbers. So you won't have to worry about calling me and having me gnaw your ear off. That's not going to happen. I'm going to be more straight to the point. And I like pictures. So I love to have pictures of the receipts and things like that. But, like I said, I've had that one client for 8 years now, and then added the other clients to that. And I was working full time while doing their work too. So I'm capable, and the people that I have with me too are capable of doing, a lot of intensive work, in a quick time frame. I've got some marketing companies too, also that I'm doing their bookkeeping
Hmm.
for, and also I had mentioned that before. And I've also got a new client that's coming on board that's got like a company that does like meeting events for corporations.
Oh,
So,
wow.
where they have planned activities, and I mean they're not huge, but they're good size and they need help with their books. They don't want to have to be doing all this bookkeeping. They want to be planning events and holding them for executives,
Yeah,
to work together and become more cohesive as a group. So,
beautiful.
it varies. I want to be able to do all kind of different people's books and help them,
Aw. Well,
and remotely.
and remotely, yes, just like
Yes.
this on
You're
Zoom
welcome
or
to you're welcome to bring them by, Just I just am not Austin is a very busy town and it's got a lot of traffic. And so hopefully we're not having to travel too much to go sit in an office that takes an hour to get to. We don't want to have something with travel time and that kind of thing. We'd
uh,
rather do it for you and see you maybe once a quarter and get your stuff from you and do it and then bill you maybe, quarterly or monthly. I do QuickBooks Online and I do QuickBooks Desktop both. I've also done some other programs too. I've done Applos, I've done a CSSI, I've done Concord when we
wow.
used to have that. I can't remember the other one. Great Plains was one that I did when I worked for the commercial supply house, you know. So I've done different types, and I'm willing to learn different things too. So if you're on a different kind of QuickBooks, I'm open to learning that. Shouldn't take too long.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you here, getting to know
Thank
you and
you.
all that you do at AAA Bookkeeping LLC. If you need a professional bookkeeper, go right to the website. It's AAA bookkeeping.llc. And I like how you say you don't want to be a numbers person. Well, you're in luck because she is. And you could start there, go on the website, check out a list of all her services. Again, not limited to the bookkeeping, expense tracking, financial reporting, tax prep, payroll processing, bank reconciliation, as she taught me about, QuickBooks. And again, she offers you a free consultation and guarantees best quality service. And she's here to help save you time. Read some of the positive testimonials there on the website and looking forward to reaching out and speaking to you again. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I mentioned also we have a dock builder, so we even have that. So yes.
Great.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Jamie Wheeless,
Appreciate
thanks so
you.
much for being here. Same here, and hopefully we'll
Have
speak
fun.
again soon. Thank you. You
All
too.
right.
Enjoy the day, and we'll
Yes, you
talk.
too.
Enjoy the beautiful Austin weather. I'm jealous. It's not as hot in New York. Actually, it's a little hot today, from what I think. I haven't been outside. It's supposed to be, but yeah, we're in that fall chilly season at this point. But enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
You
Appreciate
too.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.